tracking this nasty line that has just barreled right across Oklahoma with gusty winds and multiple tornadoes. Now, this line has weakened quite a bit, but it's still in the severe category. Guys, we had wind speeds near 100 miles per hour pushing across Oklahoma City, I-35, and even stronger back west towards Texas. Now we're in the 60 to 70 mile per hour range, which is still severe and can cause damage. It can even still put down some power lines and can also take down some tree limbs. So it's still a dangerous storm, but it is weakening, and it will continue to weaken as it crosses the state line. The farther west you live, the bigger severe chance you're going to get. Now, a couple things with the radar right now. The storms are starting to separate a little bit. That's a sign of weakening. Notice how the strongest storms are back off towards the west. Ahead of the storms, we've got some heavy rain. There's a batch of heavy rain that's actually just about to cross the state line and into northwest Arkansas. And what this helps do, it helps to stabilize the atmosphere. It helps to kind of make it less potent. So we're going to be watching this line that's just south and east of Tulsa. We do have a tornado warning. We're going to take a closer look at that in just a second. But this whole line is crossing over just west of Lake Tenkiller and near Lake Eufaula, and is continuing to push towards the state line, and it still has a lot of gusty winds. Towards the south, we've noticed the line start to break a little bit. In fact, the southern portion used to be the strongest, but as it pushes into some of this cooler air that we've had throughout the day, because remember, it's been kind of cloudy, and we started to reduce some of the clouds later into the evening. But these storms have weakened. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning that is headed towards Latimer County right now. But rain is starting to report across Sequoia County. Sallisaw, look out for some rain here shortly. And then rain starting to push in northwest Arkansas. But the strongest storms are back off towards the west. Looks like a new tornado warning is being issued just towards the south and east of Tulsa. This is going to be headed right towards Highway 412 with that circulation. But this line of storms, and specifically the strong storms, so you're going to get kind of two waves with this. Because of that separation due to the weakening, we're getting a batch of rain first, and then the stronger storms on the backside. So when the rain starts, it may not be as crazy at first, but it may pick up later into the evening and overnight hours as the second, more potent line moves in. But that potent line, so I'm not tracking the leading edge of just rainfall, but actually just tracking the bigger storms themselves. The timing right now, Sallisaw just after midnight, Fort Smith closer to 12:30, Fayetteville also getting close to 12:30 as well. But let's take a closer look at these storms that are back off towards the north and west. See the circulation that's just north and west of Porter. You're getting a gust of wind east, and that's mechanically turning the wind right now. So it's going to be east of Coweta and headed towards the Wagner area. So we're still west Tulsa, about over here. So we're south and east of Tulsa. This will be crossing Highway 412 here within the next 30 minutes. Farther south, we don't have as much of a circulation right now, but we've just got good wind. And you guys probably feel the wind outside. We've been here at the station, it's just howling. Sounds like the building's gonna blow over. It may sound like that at your house. It may sound like the windows are gonna bust out because it is very breezy out there. We've got wind advisories all across Arkansas and Oklahoma, and then they're only gonna pick up when these storms start to fire through. This is taking a look at those wind advisories and the tornado watch. The yellow area, see all the counties issued in yellow kind of beneath the radar when you look at different layers? That's the tornado watch. And so we still have the possibility as this line comes in to continue to make a spin up. Notice how the tornado watch has not been extended yet into Arkansas. We'll see if that takes place, but right now the environment's more conducive back off towards the west, especially as long as this line stays potent. And right now this line is headed more towards northwest Arkansas. The storm's back off towards the south, heading into the river valley, but it looks like this most potent line right now may be crossing Benton County and Washington County here closer to 12 o'clock and then in closer to I-49 by about 12:30. But guys, the wind has been howling out this evening. This is a live look in Springdale where we're watching off storms towards the west. Eventually you're going to see a little bit more of a line. And the lightning is a little bit more embedded back towards the west, but the lightning cores have reduced quite a bit. It was a huge lightning show over Oklahoma, but we're probably going to see some lightning as it moves in from the state line. But you're looking from sunset and you're going to look west. I'm going to bring in meteorologist Stephen Elmore. He has more cameras and more information on what we expect with the timing throughout the rest of this evening. Stephen?
Yeah, Matt, we're just answering some questions on our Facebook live stream. We'll be trying to get to as many of those as possible. A lot of questions right now referring to what can I expect as we go to bed here pretty soon. Many people, probably already asleep by this point of the time of night, heading into a Monday, especially up a little bit later tonight due to the fact that we are seeing some of those strong storms moving out of Oklahoma and into Arkansas late tonight. Timing of this whole situation. We've been talking pretty much the whole night that the whole window is going to be from around 11 p.m. tonight till around 3 a.m. heading into tomorrow morning. Now for eastern Oklahoma, we're mainly seeing that line of thunderstorms right now moving into eastern Oklahoma and then going out until around midnight, maybe into a little bit past midnight. And then northwest Arkansas going to see anywhere from midnight all the way out until around 1 a.m. across the River Valley around the same timing, around midnight to 12:15 heading into early on Monday morning. Here's a look at Springdale right now. You're seeing that clouds really starting to move back there in the background. Those wind gusts are really howling late tonight. I think Fayetteville is our top wind gust right now at around 55 miles per hour. That threshold for severe weather is going to be 58 miles per hour heading into 60 mile per hour wind gusts. As this line continues to push into northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, we'll see if we start to see those severe thunderstorm warnings following right along with it. Here's a look at Fort Smith right now. Traffic's still moving there, but again, those storms are still further out towards the west right now, just now getting close to the state line. Eventually, as we get closer to midnight, we'll be right at the state line after moving out of Oklahoma into Arkansas. Let's take a look at our current temperatures right now. We've seen a lot of wind coming up from the south today, fueling our temperatures. You're seeing temperatures still in the mid-60s across northwest Arkansas. We're closing in on midnight here across the River Valley. Temperatures, Poda right now creeping up on 70 degrees close to midnight tonight. Those wind gusts are going to be our main threat heading into the rest of the evening, where we've seen, as Matt mentioned, across the Panhandle, parts of central Oklahoma, we've seen some tornadoes touch down, but those wind gusts have peaked up near 80, 90 miles per hour, even closer to triple digits at some point. Let's go back to those temperatures real quick. Zoom in here for you. Northwest Arkansas, you're seeing those temperatures 65 in Fayetteville, 63 in Gravis. So we still have a lot of energy in the atmosphere. So when that line does cross over to northwest Arkansas, we could start to see those that line of thunderstorms start to pulse back up again. We've kind of seen it starting to pulse down and pulse back up into those severe thunderstorm limits when we start to get above those 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And with energy, this is a place that we haven't seen any storms yet. It's been windy out there, but that line of thunderstorms hasn't reached northwest Arkansas just yet. Across the River Valley, temperatures still in the mid to high 60s. Poda, Waldron, our warmest places right now in the mid 60s to high 60s. So let's take a look at those wind gusts right now. Again, this is going to be our main concern tonight. You see Poda, Boonville, you're seeing those wind gusts around the mid-20s right now, so we're still far away from those damaging wind gusts. But in northwest Arkansas, you're really starting to see the wind gusts picking up right now. You definitely can hear it outside. We can hear it outside our station here. We're seeing those wind gusts closing in on 60 miles per hour. It's just howling outside across northwest Arkansas. As that line gets a little bit closer to the River Valley, that's when those wind gusts will really start to pick back up. Here's a look at those wind gusts throughout the rest of the evening tonight. You see picking up after you see earlier today, we had those wind gusts in the 20s, still coming up from the south, warming up those temperatures. As we've headed into the evening hours, easily reaching up into the 50s, 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts. More than that as we head throughout the rest of the evening tonight. Let's track out these storms of when you can expect these to be moving in. Eastern Oklahoma, you're about to start to see that line of thunderstorms start to move in, but they're going to fall apart as they get closer to northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. We've been talking about it for the past several days. The problem we may run into is if the fact that they pulse back up, since this is an area who hasn't seen any of these storms yet. So maybe around 1 a.m., Futurecast right now starting to pick up. Maybe we start to see some of these storms starting to pulse back up and then pulsing back down as they move across further out into the eastern side of our viewing area. All this is going to be wrapping up by the time we get into the early morning hours tomorrow. 5 a.m., we're not going to see any rainfall left. Temperature is still going to be warm. We're going to be seeing that wind coming up from the south. Let's break down the Storm Prediction Center of what we're looking at. So if you've seen those images, maybe on Facebook, Twitter, whatever you're getting your social media from, you've seen the damage that we've seen across Oklahoma City so far. We've seen the damage across parts of the Panhandle of Texas, even moving into Tulsa. That's when we started to see that line of thunderstorms start to break down. Closer here to home, that's where they start to trim down the risk of severe weather. Over the past couple of days, we've seen this level 3 risk continued to get moved further into northwest Arkansas. So we've had, yesterday, we just had Benton County. Today, this morning when we woke up, that level 3 risk moved well into Benton County, into Washington County and parts of Sequoyah County. And as you move into the River Valley, that's when we start to get that level 2 risk, that level 1 risk, and then just those thunderstorms. So as this line continues to move across the state line, that's what we're hopefully going to see, this line continue to weaken as it runs out of steam. It's tracked all the way across Oklahoma, causing some serious damage. So eventually it's going to run out of that energy to use up. Our biggest threats tonight are going to be those damaging wind gusts. We could see those wind gusts picking back up if they get above that 60-mile-an-hour mark. That's when we'll start to get those severe warnings, that warning for high wind gusts or that severe weather warning. And then we'll start to see the chance of maybe a quick spin up here or two if the atmosphere is right for that late tonight. Again, the timing going to be all the way until 3 a.m. Last thing I'll show you here before we go back to Matt. Again, the timing right now, we're now casting mode now, where we're no longer trying to track this out anymore. We're going to be seeing this over the next couple of hours developing across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, going all the way around until 3 a.m. Wind gusts going to be our main concern, 60+ mile an hour is when we'll start to get those warnings. Main threat is going to be across northwest Arkansas. As you move into the River Valley, threat is becoming less and less. But with these systems starting to break off into chunks, we could see more of a threat starting to move into northwest Arkansas. We're going to go ahead and toss it back to Matt now, so he can tell you exactly where that threat is right now and where we could see it throughout the rest of the night, Matt.
Yeah, if we could go back to the radar, I'll show you. I'm looking at some of the newest warnings coming in from the National Weather Service and estimating a lot of these winds along the line itself, that western line, to be around 60 to 70 miles per hour. So that is damaging wind, and it's moving east. We have that reissuing of the tornado warning as you go towards Porter and then Wagner there east of Tulsa. It's going to be crossing over Highway 412 here shortly. But it looks like the storm back off towards the south is weakened enough that the warning has been dropped. Right now, it looks like if this scenario continues to play out, the strongest storms will continue to probably aim towards northwest Arkansas, which that's what we've been talking about. That's when Stephen was showing you those maps with the severe zones. Northwest Arkansas is a little bit more under the threat rather than much of the River Valley, especially south and east of Fort Smith. And I tell you what, if you live in Johnson, Logan, Scott, and Sebastian counties, you can see what's coming towards us. Heavy rain, probably some thunder and lightning too, although it's not as frequent as it was earlier this evening. But we're still going to get some of that heavy rain. But it looks like the biggest wind threat will be towards the north. Now, that's not to say it's not windy with these storms. These winds are probably closer to 40 or 50 miles per hour, so it's still going to be breezy. And it's already breezy right now with that south wind. You guys probably hear it howling outside. But we'll watch these cells as they come into the River Valley here over the next couple of hours. In northwest Arkansas, it's this line that still looks pretty nasty that's headed towards Tahlequah right now. It's been coming towards Cherokee County here shortly. But right now, we've got two waves. You're going to get the first wave that's just rain. In fact, we've got some rain now reporting in Salem Springs and Gentry and Decatur's coming right towards Heifel, towards XNA. In Washington County, from Summers and Cincinnati, right towards Lincoln, and even the outskirts of Prairie Grove, we've got rain coming in, and then Farmington and Fayetteville, we're next. But the bigger storms are back off towards the west. We're really watching the line that you see with that darker red color. You see how it's thin and moving north, and then right where the two cells kind of separate for a moment, that's where we have some rotation right now. And so that's why you have that tornado warning. That's going to continue to move north and east. So really for Benton County and Washington County, we're watching the southern portion. So take it, kind of divide it in two, take the southern half right in here. That's what's going to be headed towards the metros in northwest Arkansas. And we still have at least another hour before it really gets closer to us. So we'll continue to watch it. You can see all the light green on the radar too. That's not rain. That's just showing you that strong south wind that we have out there. Very breezy tonight. You probably hear it howling outside, but that line is coming in. It is weakening as it does so. So that is good news for us. And also, if you look at the lightning, we had some lightning strikes earlier, but the lightning has really faded too. And that's another signal of storms weakening. So we'll watch them, but the severe threat continues to go down. The tornado watch includes eastern Oklahoma, but it does not include western Arkansas. We'll let you know if that changes. My hunch right now is that they're probably just going to leave it as it is, keep it for Delaware and Adair counties, and not extend it. But we'll watch this line. If this line, this is probably the one line that has the capability to try to do a quick spin-up tornado over the next 2 hours. So we'll watch it. We'll give you updates as it comes in. So I'm going to kind of give you a preview. So we're going to take a break here in just a moment as we watch the storm still come in from Oklahoma. Once the severe threats start to approach the state line or they start to approach Sequoyah County and LaFleur County, we're going to hop right back on and give you updates. But for now, the storms are still off towards the west. We're tracking them. They probably still have about another hour before the nasty stuff crosses the state line. Until then, watch as some rain moves into 5 country. Keep it local, keep it right here, and as always, we'll keep you advised.